So as you know, Carolyn and I just recently, over the winter time, just got this washing machine. It's an apartment wash machine. It runs on 300 watts. That was the big selling point for us. And it's done a really good job. I used to have one similar to this years ago when I lived in an apartment, but it was a little bit smaller. And there's all kinds of settings on it and different positions and cycles and all that. Well, today Carolyn wanted to wash some blankets. Now, I didn't realize this. This is definitely my fault. It's partly cloudy today, so I should have asked her yesterday if she wanted to do laundry because it was fully sunny yesterday. And I didn't ask her if she wanted to get it done, but she wanted to get some wash done today, which is a real problem because when you do big loads like that, she likes to use as many rinse cycles as this machine can handle. So it's 1 wash and 3 rinse cycles, so a total of 4 fills. Each fill is 10 gallons. So that's 40 gallons, which isn't a huge issue. Our well handles that quite easily. The problem is our IBC tank is 275 gallons. So you take out 40 gallons of that. Again, filling this on a daily basis is not a big deal. But the problem is it's supposed to be, well, it's hard to say what it's supposed to be, but it appears it's going to be cloudy or partly cloudy until next Monday. This is Wednesday. So that's a long time not to fill the IBC tank after doing 40 gallons of wash. I figure Carolyn and I will use anywhere, well, we on average use about, let's just call it 20 gallons a day. Some days is much less, some days are much more. And with it raining, of course, and we're going to be using rainwater to flush our toilet, it's possible that we could really run this pretty low in a week's time. Maybe half of it, especially since we just wanted to do some laundry. Well, it's hard to see this now, but this morning it was definitely cloudy. Partly cloudy, mostly cloudy. I don't know what you want to call it, but it was definitely not like this. So the problem is I run this off the solar panels. Now I can run the well off the generator. I'll walk over to the well. I keep saying this, and I'm not even near the well. So with the well, I can run it off this generator, or I can even run it off the other generator. Regardless, this one I can run it directly, and I don't have to worry about the battery charging or anything like that. So my thinking this morning when I got up was I was just going to let the solar panels charge the batteries with this partly cloudy day. I was getting about 20 amps. Now, on a fully sunny day, I can get 60 amps. So it's a huge difference, but 20 amps isn't bad. 20 amps I can get charge those batteries in about 3 to 4 hours. So as long as it's consistent all day long, it would be fine. My little battery charger that I use to charge batteries is 25 amps, and it charges the batteries in 3 to 4 hours. So that was my plan. But when I have to run the well pump takes much more energy. This is 800 watts, and it can run up to about 50, that's about 50 amps, just a little under 50 amps to run this well. It's like 46 amps. If I have to run 46 amps for an extended period of time to fill the IBC tank today, I wasn't going to have enough charge. There was just no way. First of all, it would have taken it from the batteries because the solar panels were only producing 20 amps. So there was another 27 amps, 26 amps being taken from the batteries. So when I fill the IBC tank, it takes a good half hour, 45 minutes sometimes, after we do laundry to fill the tank. So we're going to be using a good amount of electricity that I just wasn't going to be able to replace today. So that meant I was going to have to run the generator to charge batteries, or run the generator to run the well. Either way. Now, let's explain the well. The reason it takes so long to fill the IBC tank is the recovery rate of this old well is about 5 gallons a minute. I mean, to me, that's fantastic. That's plenty of water. I just took you over to a natural spring over at the conservation area, probably 2 weeks ago. Well, maybe it was longer than that, but so we have 2 natural springs, one down the hill and one over there at the conservation area. Well, the conservation area, it was quite obvious. You could see that it's a slow but consistent rate, and I assume, I'm pretty certain, that the aquifer that supplies those two natural springs supply this well as well. So 5 gallons a minute. I mean, that's just what it is. The pump that pumps the water out of here can pump up to 13 gallons a minute. So the pump can easily overwhelm the well and suck it dry pretty quickly. Here's what the pump looks like. This is a 30 gallon per minute. So that one is more than double the speed of the one I've got in there. I used to have this one in there, but it was just too much. There was just no way I could use that one anymore. I'm going to use it as a backup if I ever need to, but it's just too big for this old well. So what I need to do in order for this well pump to work in this well is I have to throttle down the flow down to about 5 gallons a minute. And it's not hard to do. You put a bucket out here, you take your watch, and you wait for the bucket to fill up. If you match 5 gallons a minute, then you know that's what it is. Well, I've got this position now where pretty much memorized. I could mark it off if I probably should mark it off for Carolyn if she ever wanted to come out here and do it. Now, the well itself is a 6-inch diameter hole that goes down 100 feet. And about 30 feet of it has water. So you got 6 inches of water, 30 feet tall. You can get on Google and find out how much water that is. But I think it's probably, I'm just guessing, it's just a guess. I don't know, maybe 20 or 30 gallons, 40 gallons, somewhere around there. So if I turned this pump on, full blast, within 3 or 4 minutes, 5 minutes, I could have that well emptied because the recovery rate is 5 gallons a minute. So just in a few minutes, the well would be empty. So then again, I got to throttle it down so I don't suck that well dry. Now, if I'm not going to run the well very long, maybe a minute or two, or just a minute, I can turn it all the way up and it shoots water really quick, but I got to be careful that I shut it off within a minute or two. Otherwise, again, I'm going to suck that water dry. So today, I had to figure out, did I want to run the generator? And the answer was no, I didn't want to run the generator. Now, when I say this, there are several things that you need to take into consideration when you're living off grid. One, living off grid means you got to do some work to maintain your lives. I understand that in regular life, you go to a job, you make a paycheck, and then you have everything else around you take care of you. You have automatic electric, you have an automatic well, you have everything. And it's all automatic. But you got to work 40, 60, 80 hours to get the money so you can pay for all that. Carolyn and I gave up that idea of going to work to get a paycheck, and we're going to work for ourselves. So I don't have to make a lot of money, but I got to do a little bit of work around here. Not a lot. Everybody seems to think, well, a lot of people seem to think, this is just the hardest job in the world. It's not. This isn't bad. But you got to have a plan. Like today, Carolyn and I didn't have a plan. And so we almost messed up. We should have communicated. I should have communicated yesterday. Do you want to do laundry? She just assumed today was going to be sunny. I knew it wasn't because I keep an eye on it. It's because of the well. And the electric system is kind of just my thing. The thing I have to take care of. So what I did today was, like I said, there's 4 cycles in the washing machine. If I'm careful, I can run this well, like I said, for a minute or two at full blast. So what I did was, after the pump, the RV pump, or the washing machine, filled its first cycle, 10 gallons, I filled the IBC tank back up at full blast. So instead of having to run the pump, this pump, for 2 minutes, because 5 gallons a minute is 2 minutes, I only had to run it for maybe a minute, just less than a minute. So I filled it back up. It was cloudy, but I don't have to run it as long. That was half the time that I had to run it. So it filled the IBC tank back up. I shut this off. That gave the well time to fill back up. So the next time the washing machine filled back up, I came back out here. I filled the IBC tank up again. It only took a minute, less than a minute, to fill it back up. And then I shut this off, again, waiting for the washing machine to run through its cycle, giving this time to fill back up. But this is something that I've had to learn over a long period of time. I'm still learning things about this well. I have learned just recently, maybe like yesterday or day before yesterday, a problem that this well, this specific well, is causing me. I've told you in the past that I have to be very careful that this pipe doesn't fall down. This rope stretches, and I can see that it's even pulled down a little bit further. This is supposed to be, this right here is supposed to be a foot out, and I would say that's only about 6 inches out. I knew it dropped back down to 8 inches, but regardless, the rope stretches. Every time I fill this black pipe up with water, see, it empties every time. I got a hole drilled so that empties. So every time it fills back up, that puts pressure on the rope holding this up. If I get too close to the bottom of the well, I can pick up sediment. But if I pull this up too far, I run out of water too quickly. No matter what the refill rate is, it just runs out. So I have to keep this very precise, I guess is the best way to put it. And we're talking 12 inches, 6 to 12 inches difference, a huge difference. Well, I couldn't imagine why that was such a big deal. Now I realize this is an antique well. And back in the day, they used to have these above ground pumps that would suck the water up, but this pushes the water up. And these are modern day well pumps. Well, I realized something. Wells, I just found out, only last 20 to 100 years, depending on your well and your location, all that stuff. But let's just call it an average of 50 years. Well, this thing's probably 60 years old. And I knew it was an antique. But now I understand what's going on. Over the years, sediment, dirt, water, runoff water, and calcium has filled the well. So let's say they drilled it to 130 feet back 60 years ago. Well, today the well is only 100 feet deep. So 30 feet of it has filled up with sediment and calcium over the last 50 years. Well, that is what's causing this minute problem right here, where if I'm not careful, I pick up sediment. So over time, you just learn more and you figure out how to do things and then you adjust to it. The well has been the biggest challenge that I've had here. It's an old well. I knew it was an old well, but it's working. And that's key. It saved us $5,000. Either the well was free or the property was free. Basically the same cost. So what my suggestion is always be thinking, don't get stuck in a one thing's solution. Everything's got to have multiple ways of dealing with it. On a normal day when everything's easy, the sun is bright, I don't have to worry about anything. I can stick the hose in the IBC tank, wait a half hour, you fill it up for a half hour. I can come inside, wait for it to fill. But on days where the clouds aren't cooperating and I've not communicated what my needs were for the sun with Carolyn today, I had to make an adjustment. And so be prepared to make adjustments as you go along through your off-grid living. So if you'll click this up next box, it's to take you to a video where I was talking about batteries. So if I can inspire you to think through your issues when you're living your dreams. Thanks for watching.